Forgiveness. So, forgiveness is a big one, and it can be controversial for some people. I used to think back years ago that forgiveness was for the other person. If you forgave the other person, you were letting them off the hook. You were giving them some sort of benefit, right? Like how many times that person doesn't deserve forgiveness, or that person is, like we think it's about them. We think the forgiveness is for them. But that might be partially true if you're having a conversation and you're telling that person, pardon me, you're telling that person, I forgive you, right, to their face and letting them know. Then that might lift some guilt and burden off their shoulders. But when I'm talking about this type of forgiveness, they're not even involved. We don't tell them, they don't need to know, because it's not about them. The forgiveness is literally just for our benefit. It is for us, right? So this notion of they don't deserve it, it's not about them. This is a hard one to accept. If you had told me, I probably heard this concept, in my 20s, but I never would have bought into it. I'd be like, that's the stupidest thing I've heard. Like, I would have just sloughed it off and been like, no, don't get it, don't want to get it, not ready, no. So it can be a difficult one to really take in and realize, and to know it's not about them. We're doing this for us. So when you think about the person, like if you're holding these grudges, if you think about a person that has wronged you, that you still have a grudge that you refuse to forgive, when you think about them, those negative emotions come up, whether it's anger, hatred, betrayal, like whatever it is, these emotions we have associated with that person, they come up. That means those emotions are in us always. We are storing those emotions inside us with that not forgiving them, like refusing that little grudge. It's in a nice little box and we've got it in us, and we're just carrying around all that negativity. They are taking up space. We've created them a nice little apartment, whether it's in our minds, in our hearts, wherever it is. We've created them a nice space for them to live inside us with all of that negativity. Right? That's what we're doing. That's what I never would have understood in my 20s. So this is where now I know, and I think of, forgiveness or lack of forgiving, having those grudges, as allowing that person to take my power, allowing that person to affect my life. I'm allowing them to take things from me and control me. And I mean, if this person has done me so wrong, the heck am I giving them that kind of power for? Like, that doesn't make any sense. And it's kind of like, I don't know if you guys have ever heard, the best thing to do to someone who wants to poke and poke and poke and get reactions and stir the pot and have drama. The best thing is to not give in, to ignore them, to not play into the game. That's kind of the same logic here, right? We're just going to forget about them. We're going to let them go. We're not playing into that game. So when we choose to forgive someone, we are doing it for us. I think of it as like a mental, physical, like a self-cleansing of that negative energy. That little apartment building we've stored all their stuff in, all their toxic, negative energy, feelings, all of it. We're evicting them. We're giving that apartment a thorough cleaning, probably a little sage and smudging, and we are moving on with life. We are throwing the baggage out, we're leaving it, and we're moving on. So I always think of forgiveness as a cleansing, empowering, and moving on with my life. Right? That person no longer has a say. They no longer hold space. They no longer affect me. Now, the big thing to know is, because we also have this association If I forgive them, that means I'm accepting what they did as okay. No, no, not even close. We do not accept what they did. What they did is wrong. Whatever they did to harm us, hurt us, betray us, whatever that thing is, they did wrong. That was not okay, and we do not accept that action as okay. But we forgive them for doing it, and we're going to move on. Right? And this ties into, I've said it before, if you haven't heard it, we are all doing the best we can with what we have and know. And this is um, one of those situations, and it can be very difficult depending what has happened to you. Like, there's some very horrible things. But if we think just logically about people like that, like, let's say, the alcoholic, well, I'm an alcoholic because my dad's an alcoholic. I mean, personally, I think that's a very poor excuse. Just me. I come from Alberta, who didn't have an alcoholic dad. But it's one of those, they are doing the best they can with what they have and know. Maybe they'll learn better. Maybe they'll do better in the future. But right now, they've learned to be an alcoholic and they are being an alcoholic. Does that make sense? So, because we never think that someone is purposely doing poorly, doing badly. Like, people are always trying. We might not always succeed at what we try at, but we're always trying. We're always trying to do good, right? So this is our attitude for human beings. We are all doing the best. And some people do bad things, but usually there's a story, there's a reason. They were taught it. Their parents taught it, their friends or whatever. Like, there's always more stories behind it, right? So when we're forgiving for ourselves, we don't really concern ourselves why they did it. Maybe they'll learn to do better in the future. Maybe they won't. But they are not our problem. They are not our concern, right? So for people, if you never have to see them again, great. Again, we're not calling these people up on the phone to tell them. We're not writing them letters and mailing them, right? This is for us. So we're cleansing ourselves. We're throwing out the baggage. We are saying, we're putting up that little boundary. You do not impact my life anymore. I am choosing to move on from you, right? So that's what forgiveness is all about. We want to get rid of that negative. And this can be, if you choose to do forgiveness, it can be very exhausting. I was actually quite shocked. I did forgiveness one day, and I wrote out 2 letters to people. I'm like, I don't actually know if I need to forgive these people, but better safe than sorry, right? Like, I'll write a letter just to make sure I'm all cleansed, all clear. I really want to have a clean palette moving forward. I got 2 letters, and again, I would consider them somewhat insignificant. I was tired. I was exhausted. I had to take a break. I thought I was just going to power through all these letters, call her. No, no, no. I had to take a break. I had to drink water. I, put the TV on for a minute. I was like, "Ooh, hey, that was something." And I think, though, this is such a powerful thing, though, because even though these were insignificant, obviously they weren't. It affected me, right? Like, 2 forgiveness letters, and I had to take a break. Like, but that is great because that tells me it's doing something. I am doing something very powerful here. And of course, it has to be for the better because we're forgiving, we're alleviating, we're getting rid of negativity. So, and you should feel like, I know I felt after, I was like, you read the letter and maybe you burn it, you shred it, whatever, crumple it up, and you just like let it go, however you need to let it go. And I was like, yeah, okay. So I felt relief, I felt lighter, but I was tired. So I did have to do, that little self-care. I had to listen to myself, listen to my body, take that minute. So if you choose to do forgiveness, just know, like, don't do it before going to work. You need to take that minute for yourself. This is a very personal thing. Give yourself time afterwards. Definitely hydrate, but just know, like, it really is powerful. It's good. You know what? I'm not a person, I don't cry, but I've had many clients that tell me, like, don't you just feel so much better after a good cry? I'm like, I don't personally do this, so I don't understand, but I'm going to think that this is similar because in my past, like when I have cried or something has happened, you feel drained afterwards. Like it's kind of a draining experience. So I'm gonna say it's a similar thing. You feel good afterwards, but you are a bit drained. So be prepared for that, right? But remember, this is for you. So if you do decide you're ready to do some forgiveness, you are going to, number one, pull out a positive of the bad situation that happened to you because there's a positive in everything, right? So, for example, I was very hurt somewhere in my teenage years, maybe I was 14 or something. I was trying to hang out with my dad. I was trying to bond with him. He wanted to hang out with my brother. He wanted to do the boy things in the yard. Well, my brother's very nerdy. He, computer geek. He doesn't really like outside. That's me. That's my thing. I love woodworking. I love being outside. I love taking care of yards. But my dad didn't want to hang out with me because I'm a girl. He just wanted to do the boy things with his son. I was not good enough. My story, I was not good enough to hang out with because I'm a girl. That's the story I made, right? Now, was this true? I don't know. I can't read his mind. Who knows? And he's passed away now, so I can't ask him. But there's probably, I don't know, 20 different stories of why he didn't want to hang out with me that day, or if there's multiple days that reinforce this. Who knows? I never asked. That's on me for not clarifying. I made an assumption. I made a story. I created a reality out of it. And it is what it is. So I now know that that's probably not true. I have forgiven that. But the positive, always pull a positive. The positive is it really drove me, instead of firing me, to be a very independent person, to not have to rely, to basically be one of the boys. Good, it sounds funny, but to be as good as the boys. So I know I was 16, I started lifting weights with guys. I would arm wrestle guys. Like I had to prove I was as good as the boys. So this has kind of now, not to say I don't have this, like I have to be as good as the boys now. I've grown up and stuff, but it just instilled this sense of being independent. I don't need to rely on other people. I can figure stuff out. I can do it myself, and I've always wanted to. And to this day, I'm going to be a strong person, like literally physically strong, so I don't have to rely on other people. Right. And I love this about myself. I love being independent because, if my boyfriend's not here for whatever reason, and even now, like we've got one of our dogs is 90 pounds, the other is 65. If I had to, I could probably carry him wherever. Like even now, I can, help him into the truck. I don't need help. Like I feel confident. And I feel like if anything happens, it's okay. I can handle it. I can handle it mentally and I can handle it physically. And a lot of that stemmed back to that rejection from my dad. Right. So it's that, I am grateful that my dad taught me that lesson and really ignited this independence in me, and how valuable I think it would be for me to be strong and independent and not need to rely on other people. Now, having said that, don't get me wrong, I will gladly let my boyfriend, carry the heavy things if he wants to. I'm not going to, take him out of his hand, but I know I can carry them if I need to. And that makes me feel amazing. That makes me feel safe. That makes me feel taken care of. right? All these wonderful things from that one situation. So you want to find that positive. How did it help mold you? How did it impact you? What positive came out of that? And then you want to forgive. Write out a little letter, right? Tear it up, burn it, whatever. And then know. And here's the catch, guys. You know you've fully forgiven someone when you can think of that person and wish them well. If you think of them and you're like, I wish, yeah, I can't do it. No, I can't do it. You haven't forgiven them, right? Now, part of what helps me, so hopefully this will help you, part of what really helps me is knowing I wholeheartedly believe in karma. So knowing that it is not my place to dish out that person's karma. I am not the karma giver, as much as I might like to be sometimes. I'm not. And karma will take care of that person. It's not up to me. I need to let go. Life will give them whatever they need and deserve. And I wish them well. And part of me sometimes almost feels sorry for them because I'm like, oh boy, you did a lot of wrong. Good luck. Right? But that's okay. If that's what helps you to forgive, to move on, and to wish them well. And just know whatever they get, whatever they deserve, karma, that's their business. It's not your concern. As long as you're concerned about it, you're letting them take up that space in you. You're giving them your energy. You're allowing the negativity to reside within you, which is stealing. You are giving it your happiness, your enjoyment, your thriving, etc. Okay, guys? So I hope this helps. I hope this resonates. It's a pretty big, a pretty powerful one. I have, I should put my socials. I'm on Facebook. If you feel you're ready and you feel you need help or you've tried this, you need help, like hit me up, make a comment here or something, whatever it takes. And because it can be, sometimes we do need a little help with stuff like this, especially when it's something we really, really are resistant to forgiving. Sometimes we need a bit of guidance, a bit of support, and that's okay because everyone's different and everyone needs different things. And that's like, again, no judgments. Facts are facts. You need help, it's a fact. You get help. You don't need, that's great. It's a fact. You don't need. Who cares? Nobody cares, right? All right, guys. Yeah, I hope this helps, and I hope you feel lighter, and I hope you let go and move on and live and love your life.